How come Mr. Incredible and Frozone have a microphone on their chest while Elastigirl doesn't need one?
Traveling northbound on San Pablo Avenue.
But there is no San Pablo Avenue on the navigation map. The navigation screen shows him crossing Adelina Street, but then switches to while he hasn't crossed Adelina Street yet. His watch appears out of nowhere.
Tour bus robbery. I've still got time.
The man is bent over Mr. Incredible's shoulders, but in the next shot he's on his chest. There are no cars parked on the street, then some appear. Also, cars keep driving normally as if nothing happened even though a section of the bridge exploded. When he opens the car door, the window is up and then the window is down. Innocent bystander instead of innocent bystander. Cute. The denied stamp on the paper moves from the center of the form to the top of the form. In the shot, it looks like Bob's cube has two entrances. It has a glass partition, an entrance, then another glass partition, and it looks like Hugh walked into the cube past the second glass partition. You can tell that it is Bob's office because the stuff on the shelf matches the other cube scenes. But of course, this cube is like any other regular cube and only has one entrance. The pencil holder moves to the edge of the desk where it falls to the floor. The X fold on Dash's shirt mimics fabric, but it changes shape even though Dash is not moving. Throughout the entire film, Violet's fringe keeps switching sides. The dates in the movie are a bit off. For example, the daily newspaper Bob reads is dated 1962 or 82. However, in his office, an old frame newspaper is dated September 16, 2002. The lamp above the table is not moving, but when Frozone walks in, Helen reaches up real fast to stop it from moving. This has been reported as a fail, but actually the lamp moved because of the gust of wind caused by Dash running back to his seat. But when the lamp was swinging, the shadows of the table and chair should have moved, but they didn't. Dash's hair is all frizzled and standing up from running around and fighting with Violet. Then in one quick cut, Dash's hair is all neat and then back to frizzled again. The ice the Frozone was holding disappears. The green glass lying on the table switches between facing Dash and the door. One of the broccoli pieces around the steak on Dash's plate decides to climb on top of the steak. They blow a wall into the jewelry store and the alarm doesn't go off, but goes off when he gets up. When Bob stands up in the jewelry store, he is right next to the jewel display, but then the alarm rings and he is much farther. The people's position on the floor change. Policeman sees what appears to be robbers and decides to go in by himself when there are a bunch of cops around him. Frozone pulls the lever down to drink water but leaves it down afterwards and no water comes out. The toy figurine near the blocks on the floor appears out of nowhere. The door behind Bob is closed, but when he gets up to leave the office, he closes the door that was supposedly already closed. The objects on the table change place while Bob is taking notes. The most noticeable is the piece of paper with the eye on it. As he stretches, his belly sticks out of his shirt, but later we see that the suit is a one piece, so showing his belly would have been impossible. When he fights the first Omnidroid and is injured on his left shoulder and his suit is torn, his injury disappears and reappears. From these shots, you'd think that they are sitting at a regular sized table, but look at how far apart they are. Bob backs the car out of the driveway making a turn, but his hand on the top of the steering wheel never moved.
Life reading negative. Mr. Incredible terminated.
Wrong. The scanner never found Mr. Incredible's body, so that's bad programming to say he was terminated. The tea kettle moves from Edna's side to Helen's side of the table. When the shot changes, he is much closer to the computer chair than from when he was walking. One of the supersuits is farther apart from the others, but then he moves closer to the others. The zipper changes sides. Helen believes she's alone on the plane, yet she changes into her uniform in the plane's cramped restroom. She punches the shaft button, but what comes out are flares that are used to confuse hit-seeking missiles. Shaft is used to confuse radar-guided missiles and are containers that burst into thousands of radar reflective strips. Besides, the plane looks like a regular jet, so why would it have anti-missiles countermeasures? As they are flying the plane, looking at the waves, the sea is very rough, but once they fall into the water, the sea is calm. Looking up, there are no plane debris above them, but then a huge chunk of the plane falls almost on top of them. Mirage is wearing a headset, but after Mr. Incredible grabs her, the headset is gone. Despite complex aerobatics, the only missile contrails we see from the water are on a straight line. That ocean water would have made a mess out of everyone's hair, but their hair all look normal once they reach the shore. Keep an eye on the position of that beam. Once Helen swings to grab the tram, that beam disappears.
Okay.
Whoever was in that tram would have seen her and sounded the alarm. Violet's headband appears out of nowhere, but then again we don't know if those super suits have pockets or not. It might have been that the aftershave bottle turned around, but it could also be that it was the same label on both sides. But clearly, the lid was off the bottle and now it's on the bottle. Syndrome tosses the tanker behind him and it explodes, but when he turns around to face the Omnidroid, there are no traces of the tanker or explosion. Lots of papers are flying about the cabin and going out the open window, however in the outside shot there aren't any papers flying around. When he says to press the button again, she presses a different button. The last one she had pressed was the gray circle button. As the Omnidroid falls into the water, the wall of ice is not visible in the wide shot, but appears a second later when the scene is viewed from above. Frozone is standing behind Helen, then he is shown in front of the whole group. Jack turns into a human torch but doesn't burn up his diaper. Bob drove his car to the airport, came back from the island on a rocket, and arrived at home in the limo, so his car should have been at the airport and not at his house.
Hold on to your butts.
Come on, let's get back and engage, Maverick! Come on!
It's still good.
Get in there, Maverick!
It's no good.
We're dead! Stop it! We are not gonna die!
I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't